Life is full of work and stress. Parenting can be a mess. Being a woman is hard enough without adding on that extra stuff. We'll cover topics of every kind. Helpful resources we will find. We'll even drink a bottle of wine. Join us. It will be a real good time. Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Nikki.
And welcome to Working Mom's Whine, where we drink a bottle of wine.
And whine about our working mom lives, and hopefully provide resources that will help us and you along the way. Cheers.
This bottle has a very scary looking guy on the front of it.
This one's good. It's another 19 Crimes wine.
Yes. And, ooh, that does taste good.
Yeah.
This one is aged in a rum barrel, and I've decided that's my favorite kind of wine. Like anything aged in a a rum barrel, it has like a really good smoothness to it. This guy did not do anything near as scary as what he looks. It's Cornelius Dwyer Kane, and he was a major player in the pursuit of Irish independence. Arrested in 1864, he was sentenced to 10 years in an Australian penal colony, like the other guy.
Were they friends? Was it the same time?
I was starting to wonder about that. I was looking. Oh, wait. This is usually on the front, isn't it? Intensely rich with a jammy finish. Notes of sweet mocha, caramel, and spice.
Ooh.
I don't get
the caramel makes sense now that I hear it.
I don't get the spice as much in this one, but I'm wondering if like the caramel and the berry overpower the spice.
Perhaps. There's a little bit.
Well, today we are going to kick off Financial February.
Financial February!
Yay!
Let's get rich.
I know. I'm so excited about this one.
We're going to build some wealth.
Yes. No, this is no longer only for 85-year-old white guys who have grown up with generational wealth and are just continuing it. We're gonna grab some too.
That's right. We're gonna grab some, and we're gonna start our own generational wealth.
That's right. Week 1, we're going to whine about how we feel like we have to monetize every second of our lives.
Every second.
And I feel like some people do this more than others. Some people will try to do some couponing or use apps to make a little money on the side, or have a direct sales or MLM business. I know the word
side
MLM.
Hustle.
Yeah, your side hustle. It can be a scary word, but honestly, there's quite a few companies out there that are not aiming to take advantage of you, and it can often come down to the individual person, but we can always go off on that tangent later. I am one of the people that tries to monetize everything that I do because I want to dig myself out of the hole that I'm in and get to the point where I feel like I don't have to do that. So I'm really hoping some of the investment stuff we cover in later episodes is going to free me from that.
Heck yes. Heck yes.
I don't know about you, but I monetize my steps.
I do. Yeah. From the app you gave me.
So. Oh, nice.
I don't feel like it earns very much at all because unfortunately,
it's very slow.
My steps, I don't carry my phone with me all the time. And when I do, it's not swinging. It doesn't count it as a step. It's not in my pocket, you know? So it tells me maybe I get 400 steps, and my watch tells me I've got like 4,000 steps. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. I wish the watch would sync to the phone and to the app in a way that it would accept, but it doesn't.
Well, we will go over to like some of these apps that we use. We'll cover those as resources.
Yeah.
And then we're going to provide some links. I'll put them on the YouTube page and the Spotify page, but also on our website. And that way, if you want to try any of these apps, you'll get a bonus when you first sign up. It's always nice to get those initial points. There's only one that we're going to talk about today that I don't think has a referral bonus. I don't think the Steps one does. But all the others will have one that will help jumpstart
I just thought of
what you're
doing.
doing.
I need to talk about too.
Hey. But it is a little silly that we feel like we have to do this. We do this podcast for fun, but it would be great if we got to the point where we could monetize it. So
that'd be fabulous.
Yeah. So if we reach 500 subscribers, we'll come up with some gimmicky thing to do. But that's what we need to hit on YouTube is 500 subscribers. You should be able to just go to your job and work your 40 hours a week and then enjoy the rest of your life. And very often that is not the case. Even with two people in the house working, people get side jobs, people get part-time jobs, people try to take as much advantage of apps on the phone as they can. And it's exhausting.
It is exhausting. It's exhausting to every second of the day be thinking about, do I need to check this or scan that or do this or do, it is exhausting. But sometimes you also feel a little trapped in it. Like if you don't do those things, how are you ever going to have any fun in your life?
Right.
You're just going to spend the whole time working.
Right.
And sitting in your house because you can't afford to go anywhere else.
Yes.
Like, what is that, Our jobs don't pay enough to keep up with the inflation. And it doesn't matter what side of the argument you're on minimum wage and all of that. You cannot argue that a person makes enough money in, like, I'd say 80% of careers these days to even own a home. And the rates are insane.
Yeah.
And the way that it's developed has been insane. So I'm fortunate in that I got in on the home ownership game early, kind of, I think, right before or right during when it was getting really bad. And, when Dan and I got divorced, we sold our home and we made a good profit on it because the value of our home had gone up since we bought it.
Yeah.
And I was able to use that as a down payment for my next place, which enabled me to be a homeowner as a single income household, which I did not think was going to be possible. And yeah, it's just a crazy world out there.
Yeah.
Nobody gets paid enough to enjoy their life anymore, unless there's like this line where you don't make enough to even barely survive and buy groceries, or you're insanely wealthy,
right,
and not sharing it. You're
the
hoarding it. The gluttony.
Of the middle class.
Yes. It's crazy.
Side note, I love this creepy guy staring at us. He's gonna stay there.
Those foreboding eyebrows.
I know. He's just so scary. Yes. And so does your workplace do cost of living raises?
Yes.
Okay. Mine doesn't. Like, you have, from when you're hired to your 2-year mark, at least in our position, you get periodic raises throughout then.
Okay.
And then I get bonuses on top of that for managing a team. But we do not get cost of living raises. There was, when we switched plans a couple of years ago, they upped the minimum that you could make. And so, of course, the raises from there would end you up at a higher spot.
Okay.
But they don't reevaluate it every year and be like, okay, maybe these people who are capped out now need a cost of living raise.
Yeah. We get a cost of living raise, but it is minuscule and not actually keeping up with cost of living raises.
Mine were always minuscule too when I had
like
them.
1% maybe.
Right.
And then it comes during yearly reviews, and based on your number at the end of the review, like 1 through 5, where 3 is you're doing your job, that kind of rating system. Depending on your number, you might get a small bonus. Very small bonus.
I have one of those coming up. I wouldn't say the bonus was small, but it wasn't like humongous either. It was like
one time that
it was
I
a
got
good one,
a decent one, when I was in leadership.
Yeah, exactly.
But as a peon, even when I got 4s and 5s as my yearly, it was not much.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they have used excuses to make mine lower because they only have so much of a pot to pull from. And so they say, well, we have to give so many people a 3 and so many people a 2 and so many people a 4. Like, they're only allowed to give out so many. And then that determines how much your bonus is. So there have been years that they have said to me, well, you got a cost of living raise and you moved into this other position where you got a little bit more yearly for that. So you are going to be a 3 and we are going to get less bonus.
Wow.
So it's like,
that should be illegal.
You don't even want to celebrate when you get a raise and stuff because it's just going to stop you later. It's not going to actually like compile up like it should.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
It's all bad.
My company can be very generous in a lot of ways. Like back when gas went up to $4 a gallon, they gave everyone a card to use at Quick Trip to kind of offset things. And they gave us a card to give away to someone else that had like $50 on it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun. And they do fun things like that, like random stuff like good events, or like Friday we had a cooler.
We don't have anything like that. They don't ever do parties for us or gift cards.
Yeah.
Or even when you hit your like 5, 10, 15 years, nothing.
Man.
I think at one time they did a little thing where you could pick something from their like brand stuff, like you could get a cooler with their emblem on it or something.
We have a swag store.
But the last 2 times that I've had anniversaries, like nothing has come of that. I think I got it one time on the 5-year.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, not that I really want that junky stuff anyway, but it would be nice if they did things to, celebrate the staff and all of that.
Yeah. And I was honestly rated higher on my last yearly performance than I rated myself. So first, in where I work, you rate yourself. They ask you a bunch of questions about yourself. Okay. You give yourself a rating. You explain why you gave that rating. And then you get to say, here's what I like about things so far. Here's where I would like you to coach me more as my boss.
Oh, we don't do that.
I think there might be another question I'm missing. And then the person above you gets that information, performs their own evaluation, and then we meet and talk it over. So last year was like the last year review had been after my first year in leadership. And of course, there's some rocky things that happen during your first year in leadership. And so I was very harsh on myself with how I handled some situations and things like that. And we got together, and my boss at the time was like, actually, I think you're doing really good, and I've given you like the top rating, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm not going to complain because that means more bonus.
Yeah. Yeah, our setup is very much the same, where we review ourselves, and then our boss gets that, and they put in their perspective of it, and then you have a meeting where you talk over it, and they give you a rating, and you can respond to it and say if you agree or not, but you can't actually like argue it or have any effect on it. I happen, like when I was in leadership, I got to see behind the curtain a little bit, and I happen to know that the managers will come together and they'll rate people based on their metrics and their performance and their monthly reviews, and they'll give them a number, and they'll go into a meeting with the people above them and be told, you can't give that many people this number even though they met the metrics to get that number.
Oh my gosh.
And they have to knock people down and choose who gets to stay. And it's painful to explain to the person who gets knocked down, because we all know our metrics. We go over them every single month. We keep track of our own stuff. And we know when we've gotten a 5 versus a 4 versus a 3,
Wow.
And yeah, it really creates an environment where you don't bother trying to exceed, because why?
Right. Like, if you're not going to be rewarded for it.
Yeah. Like, not that you should have to be rewarded to do your job, but we're not talking about doing the basics of your job. We're talking about the people who go above and beyond.
Right.
Not being given their due diligence for it. So
Exactly.
It really doesn't create the kind of environment where you get competitive and try to go above and beyond for people. You know? So
yeah. And some jobs are really good about properly rewarding their people. The majority are not.
Yeah.
And so you have that issue where you're not making as much as you should, not being compensated properly, not experiencing raises that are meant to help you keep up with the cost of inflation.
Right. And then here we are downloading all of these apps.
Yep. And also getting into mountains of debt.
Yes.
And it's very easy to start out in a mountain of debt because we don't have proper financial education. And then you go to college and you start hearing about student loans and how you have to go to certain colleges and then you have to take a loan out to afford it. And don't worry, because when you graduate, you're going to immediately get a job in your line of work, and you're going to make plenty of money, and you're going to be able to make your student loan payment. And not only does that pretty much never happen, but these payments, when they kick in, are often $400 or more.
Yep.
Like, I did not have a crazy amount of student loans, and right now I only have 40 grand of it left. Thanks, Congress, for not allowing me to knock off 20 of that. But the payment is still $400 to $500.
What I wouldn't give to be in that number of debt instead of the number I'm in.
I know. I was thinking about that because I didn't ever go to like graduate or doctorate levels things
I
yet.
mean, it's all not fair.
Yeah.
1,000%.
And they take advantage of you. Like, yes, if you take out a debt, you should expect to pay it back. But it should be plainly spelled out. And when you are freshly 18 or younger, there should be a lot of rules around, like when we have first-time home buyers, we have to provide them with education so that they know what they are getting into.
Right.
They should do the same thing for student loan companies.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely had parents who said general things like, student loans are expensive. I wish I didn't have to have any.
Yeah.
You know, you are going to have to pay these back. But I had no idea what that meant.
Right.
I had no concept of what kind of income I'd be making versus how much the student loan payment was going to be.
Right.
There was no education in that whatsoever. And my particular degree requires a master's degree plus years of supervision before you can be licensed and be fully paid. And even when you are, it's not a high paying position. It's not a career like where you make good money, even when you're in private practice. And I had no idea. I had no concept of that. I didn't know therapists who were working, you know, and the ones that I did know were married and dual income. And so it looked like a doable thing. You know, you watch people and you're like, oh, you live in a decent house and you had a couple kids and, you know, you don't live extravagantly, but you live, you know, so you think, okay, this is a good career. And then you get out there and you're like, how is it that someone graduating with a bachelor's of business can get in and make double me immediately? And I have a master's degree and I can't make half of what this kid is making. And when I'm doing something that's considered healthcare and necessary and, you know, all of those things, I feel like, I mean, a whole other rant could come from this, but our country is extremely screwed up on how we base
We should
salaries.
whine about healthcare and that sometimes.
Like, those jobs that people had to continue working during COVID because they literally couldn't shut down or the whole country would die, you know?
You know, like, the ones we were calling heroes.
Right. Why are they paid so much less than people who, you know, sit in a high-rise building and talk to shareholders? Like, you know, every job has its value for sure, but it's not equitable in any way. So I don't blame anybody who's in those positions or professional athletes or any of that stuff.
No.
I just think we as a country could come together and decide base salary for a teacher, for a doctor, for a nurse needs to be, you know, different.
And maybe, I mean, I'm sure there are places where you can do this and some of this should be parental responsibility and whatever. But I think it would be also good to work into schools, like classes where maybe you, like Lucas does have a career exploration class, and I love that. They talk about different types of careers, what the responsibilities are. A lot of his electives are about exploring different things where you can kind of figure out, maybe I want to do coding. Maybe I want to dissect a sheep brain in science. Maybe I want to do this or that or whatever. I know. He had like a forensics.
God bless you all.
It was a forensics / some kind of medicine class. They said they were going to do that. I don't know if they ever ended up actually doing it, but he got a taste of what it would be like to be in forensics or to be in medicine and was able to determine, hey, this might not be something I like as much as I like robotics or coding or whatever. So, but beyond that, there's a lot you don't understand, even if you have great financial education at home.
Yeah.
So it would be really great to have these programs where, like maybe in high school or whatever, as you're making your college decisions on how much your decision about college and scholarships and student loans can affect your future before you even get your job, things like that. I have a friend that went to college early, enrolled in college when they were 15, and were able to take out student loans. And I said, did your parents have to take them out? And they were like, no. I'm like, you were 15. How is it legal to lend to a 15-year-old? Like, you really don't understand things concept at that point. Yeah, and this is a very...
You're not even old enough to have had your own job yet, or barely.
This is a very financially responsible person. Where they are right now, they're pursuing their master's in finance. They are saving up for a down payment for a home. And those are the only student loans they have were the ones when they were 15 and didn't know what was going on. They are pacing themselves so that they don't have to take out student loans, so that they are not taking out any debt, whether it comes to this home that they're trying to get or like they're like, I'll slow down my master's if I have to. I'll get a second job if I have to. I'm not taking out loan. So it's not like they're someone who just makes rash financial decisions.
Right.
But at 15, they were taken advantage of, and they ended up with a small amount, thank goodness, of loans that they had to deal with.
Yeah. And, you know, we all heard time and time again recently how predatory the student loan
That's my
system
complaint, is that it's predatory.
Yeah. You can go in and you can look at what you originally took out on loan and how much you've paid in interest since.
Yes.
And not only have you paid the entire original amount in interest alone,
yes,
but it is now quadrupled in what you owe because of the interest. And that's insane. That's too much.
Right.
Like, that's too much.
Like, if you...
So I don't think there's any argument for the other side that there shouldn't be reform in this area. And I am very thankful that we have a president right now who sees the importance of that, who sees the economic impact of that on our country as a whole, and all the beautiful opportunities this is going to open for people to be able to do things like save money for a down payment for a home, buy a car so they can get to their job. All these things that some bracket take for granted. You know, so I say keep wiping out the people that have been paying for, you know, what are we at right now? 20 years they're wiping people out. And then, you know, keep moving it down until we've hit the reset button. And let's take this opportunity as parents of this generation to educate our children and say, there's really no difference between the classes you'll take at community college versus a state university. Start at community college, knock out all the basics until you really actually know
done there.
What you want to do. You know, don't waste your time spending extra hundreds of thousands of dollars for the movie picture college experience. And
and why are we forcing people to take classes they don't need? Like, yes, basic math and writing and maybe a little of that. But there were a lot of classes I took for general education that were not only nothing I would need to get through daily life and nothing related to my degree, but were what you call an easy A class. Why am I paying
$900 or whatever it is, of course?
Just let me, I don't need movie history, you know, like I don't need some of these electives.
Yeah.
So, not to say electives aren't useful at all. I do think that some of them are very useful and fun, and it helps you avoid college burnout to be able to do things like theater and music. That's different.
Yeah.
But there are quite a few.
Those are careers you can have.
Yeah. There's quite a few completely unnecessary classes.
Yeah. And definitely looking back and learning about how you can go to community college in high school and get dual credits and do that. Like, I'm going to have an entirely different strategy for RE.
I wish I'd taken advantage of that.
For sure.
You were right about something, Mom. Okay.
Yes, okay.
Fine.
But I mean, I worked a job through, what do they call it when it's like a student job? Study?
Yes. They call it work study.
I had a work study job. I worked as a secretary for the athletic director at my school for a while. I was on the cheerleading squad, which gave me a very small scholarship.
Yes. I
also had a little bit of a scholarship for my grades. All of that added up to not even paying for my dorm room. Not even my dorm room.
Yeah.
Like,
I had scholarships. I had the work study.
Yeah.
I actually, with my ACT scores, and there was some ministerial scholarship that I got at first because I was going to go into music for church music, and then I switched.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of scholarships going in and did the work study also. I understand why they have to limit it to an extent, but work study is not paying you at all. You get $10 an hour. You are extremely limited in the amount of hours you're allowed to work. And I think that would be something that they could help expand to offset costs. Or instead of being like, we'll pay you $10 an hour, maybe you get to live in the dorms for free if you're doing work study, things like that. Because even though I had enough scholarships to cover everything, because I applied for every scholarship under the sun.
All the grants, all the scholarships, all the everything.
Right. So even though I technically would have had enough to cover everything, our school had a rule where if you were living on campus, you either had to pay for the dorms anyway, or they would only give you like 90% of the scholarships you'd earned or something. There was some rule where like basically you still ended up paying money. And even if you were like not living in the dorms, then they were like, okay, well, even though you earned enough to cover all of the expenses, we're still only going to give you this much.
Yeah.
Which is stupid.
It is stupid. Really stupid.
Yeah. And that too, like when you think about debt,
Mm-hmm.
yes, we are human and we are very capable and often do make stupid choices. Maybe
Sure.
I ate out on a night where I had planned on cooking at home, or I buy the newest video game console because it looks really fun. But
Or maybe you're going through a very traumatic time in your life and you book a trip to Disney and you just go even though you know you can't really afford it.
but we should be able to do some of those things. You have to battle burnout in life. You have to put the trauma away sometimes by distracting yourself with fun. And you want to be able to take a vacation here, and vacations, I know that like you can look at Disney and think, oh, I could have vacationed for less. But I actually went through this. Like I did some comparisons one year when we were looking at theme parks and like, well, okay, what if we go to like Colorado instead or wherever? And I had looked at a few different places and really no, between hotel and travel costs and whatever, the costs are very much the same. Yeah. Like you can obviously spend a lot more at a theme park depending on how fancy of a place you stay at, or if you do the tours or whatever.
Right, if you take all the extras and the
right. But if you do like a base level theme park trip, versus going to Gulf Shores for a week or the mountains in Colorado or going to see some national parks, it all still ends up being decently expensive. And we should be able to do stuff like that without taking debt on to do it. It shouldn't be that just because you have a car repair, all of a sudden you can't take your vacation.
Right.
And a lot of debt is out of necessity. Like I didn't open any debt in college until I reached a point where I had to get a lot of dental work done. I have a fake tooth. So I had a lot of dental work done. Like this was years, and you know, parents paid for a lot of it, but eventually throughout this process, I was an adult out on my own and ended up paying for some of it myself. At the same time, my catalytic converter went out in my car and I opened a credit card and I was like, okay, I will responsibly pay on this card. And here's another thing, and I think they've gotten better about this in recent years, but it's very difficult sometimes to tell if that blank envelope you got in the mail is a pre-screened offer that you don't care about, spam, junk mail, whatever, or a bill. And for 3 months, I didn't realize a bill had been coming to me. I had been throwing it out because of what it looked like. And I guess the moral of the story is always open your mail, even if you're pretty sure it's junk mail. But I was, 18 or 20 or something and
hadn't learned that
not
yet.
A smart person. And so before I knew it, I was 3 months behind and there had been late fees and it already was not a cheap balance. And it was a lesson I had to learn. But it's very easy. This whole rant is it's very easy to get in a debt loop before you realize it. And it's very hard to get back out of it.
Yes. A big part of these financial people I've been following and learning from recently is getting rid of the shame of being in debt. Because these days, more often than not, when you meet someone who's in credit card debt, it was to survive. It was for a car repair. It was for groceries. It was for something that you have to live.
COVID was not kind to my credit.
Mine neither. It's about like getting rid of the shame of it because a lot of us are in the same boat and we're not going to use it as an excuse to like not look at it anymore and be embarrassed by it, not do anything about it. We're going to learn. We're going to fix it, and we're going to teach our children different.
Yes.
And I think that's another piece to the debt puzzle is just the fact that, at least in my household growing up, money was not something that was talked about out loud much. I could tell when things were bad. Yeah. And there were some fights that we, arguments. We overheard. But it wasn't like we ever saw our parents sit down and do the budget and the money together. That wasn't a thing. Both parents being fully informed on what the actual situation is wasn't a thing, because growing up in a religious environment for many, many years, it was man is the head of the household. He is the provider. He makes the money. He pays the bills. The woman takes care of the household. And that's the traditional roles that our parents had. Our dad worked and paid all the bills and took care of the finances. Our mom was home with us all day, every day, homeschooling us, cooking, doing the driving, taking us places, doing all that stuff.
And it comes from them having parents too, where that was the norm, because
back in early American society, that's how it was. The man went off to work, the woman stayed home, the man managed everything, and the woman was in charge of the house. This reminds me of something really funny. I have to put it in here. I took my team to a comedy club last night. There's a guy at work, and his brother is a comedian.
Okay.
He's a comedian in New York, and he's written for a lot of like well-known things, and he's been on Comedy Central and all this other stuff. So I think it's twice a year he comes back to St. Louis and he does this whole thing. But all of that to say, he told this joke last night where he's got a 2-year-old now. He's like, yeah, we were talking about gender roles and how a man can do what a woman can do and a woman can do what a man can do. And my little 2-year-old's driving his dump truck around and he's like, look at this guy driving the dump truck. And I'm like, look, this woman can drive it too. And he's like, oh yeah, look at this woman. And he's like, it was a great moment for progressives everywhere. He goes, until.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. We were outside one day and he sees a woman in a car going down the road. And he goes, look, woman driving. And he's like, I sent my kid back to the 40s on accident. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so good.
That's funny.
That's exactly the environment that
and
we grew up in.
You know, that's, I think there's probably a large group of people that relate to that. And Tori Dunlap, the financial feminist, who I'm learning a lot from, talks about what a privilege it was to grow up with parents who didn't do that, who did their bills together in front of her, involved her, taught her about money, taught her how to invest and things like that, or kind of like some basic information about saving and investing and that kind of stuff. And like realizing as she got older that was not a thing that happened for most people. You know, financial education has not really been much of a thing in most households. And if you come from one where it was, that's amazing and that's wonderful. But we should all know and be familiar with that that's not the norm.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's nothing our parents did to us on purpose.
Right.
It's just not how it was, you know? And so here we are getting ready to dive in and learn and make different choices.
That's right.
Okay, so now that we've whined about debt and finances and budgets and all of the things wrong with our society,
right?
We're going to get into some ways that can help you to monetize things that you do every day. I'm going to start by talking about this app where I earn points towards gift cards, and they can be for lots of things like Amazon or Roblox, but I choose to earn mine for Disney cards, which I save back towards vacations. So it's called Shopkick, and there's multiple ways that you can earn points. You can scan receipts from things you bought. You can get points for walking into certain stores, and you can get points for purchasing things that are on their list, and points for purchasing things online. So what I like to do, I do the Walmart grocery pickup, and they have Walmart on their online section. So you can go in and say, oh, I get 3 kicks for every $1 I spend. So you tap it and you use that app to open the Walmart app. And then you do your shopping and you check out.
Oh, that's so convenient.
Yeah, as long as the purchase goes through, you get the points, the kicks. And then they add up, and it'll give you, I don't know if we can see this on the screen, but it'll give you kind of where you're at towards your gift card. And then when you meet the amount, it's a very easy process to say, this is the gift card I want. And you check out and they give you the little codes and you go on the website and put it in and just start compiling money. And I think there was one Disney trip where I saved like $500 towards it with gift cards. So it can really add up. And to me, it's one of the simpler ones because I don't do the receipt scanning or the going in and scanning the items in the store. I literally only use it for Sam's Club and Walmart when I order stuff online through the app and I go and pick it up. So it still helps me out. So that's a good one. Shopkicks. It's a blue square with a little white S in the App Store. So go check it out.
The first one I'll talk about is, I think I'm going to go from most annoying to least annoying. So we're going to start with Ibotta. I'm so sorry, Ibotta.
Sorry, not sorry. Do better.
Right. It's IBOTTA. It's a pink square, I believe, with like a white IB on it. And this is an OG app that I used back in the days where you would see the crazy couponers. And I wasn't the super crazy couponer, but I couponed enough.
You didn't do the extreme coupon.
Right. Like I wouldn't do like oh, I have to have like 5 carts of this to have a negative balance at the store. But I did do it enough that I very often got things for free or made a couple of bucks on it.
Mm-hmm.
So Ibotta was part of that. You would have your paper coupons, and then you would go to the store, and then you would go scan things on Ibotta and save even more on it. And so it's still convenient for that. But it is the one where you have to do the most work, because first you have to be like, this is the store that I'm shopping at or shopped at. And then they have a thing now where you can be like, I'm shopping online versus I'm shopping physically in the store, which is nice, because that way, if you are shopping online, it used to be that you just missed out because you didn't have your receipt to scan. And now there's still ways to compensate for that. So you will go through and you'll select the offers that you plan on redeeming, and then you scan your receipt. My biggest complaint with them right now is you have to be able to identify the retailer, the time, and day. I feel like there's a third thing, but it's the retailer that's the problem. I currently do a lot of my grocery shopping at Kroger, and the top of the receipt no longer says Kroger in big letters. So maybe this is partly a Kroger issue.
Like, yeah.
But if it doesn't, I will say 9 times out of 10, it knows it's a Kroger receipt if I take the pictures and give it the time to load. But there are times where it doesn't, and their customer service is what is terrible. Because I can give them everything they need initially for me to show them that this is a Kroger receipt. But their like first response back is like, will you upload pictures? And I'm like, I did, you know. Like, can you not go in and see that? And even when I like submitted my complaint and whatever. Yeah. So you do have to be very careful when you're taking your pictures for that. And you do have to do the work of scrolling through all their offers and picking out the ones you want. And I believe there's still like a $20 minimum to cash out on it. And it can take time to accrue that. Yeah. But it is very nice. You can send it straight to your bank, or you can choose from a few different gift cards. So Ibotta is definitely one that I really enjoy. And does Shopkicks have a initial referral bonus?
I think they do.
Okay.
I can't remember for sure. It's been a while since I referred somebody, but I think they do.
Anything that does have an initial referral bonus, like I said at the top of this episode, we'll make sure and stick those in there so that you guys can get the little boost. But that's kind of what I like about a lot of the apps that I use. There's one actually that I use it's one of those like pay money, see if you can lose weight, or there's other challenges
like
not related. Right. And they say they have a referral system now, but I feel like it's very hard to access it. So some of them straight up don't have a referral system.
Yeah. Yeah. Any of these things we talk about, if we have a referral, it's going to be on the episode. It gives you a boost. It gives us a boost. Right. So if you're going to download it, you might as well get the extra kickstart.
Yes, exactly.
But of course, if you know someone else who's been talking about it and you want to use theirs, we won't fault you.
Yeah, we're not trying to poach anybody. In fact, if a friend of yours has been talking about any of these apps, take it as confirmation that these are great.
Take this as a sign to go finally do it.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't have any friends, use ours. No.
So Upside it's in the App Store, a little white square with a little blue U that looks like an arrow on one end, basically.
While we're talking about putting things off, I had known about this app forever and was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not messing with that. And I finally did. So glad that I did.
Yeah. This is another easy one where you just say, I'm here. And then you do your shopping and you check out and you say, I've paid, and your cards are connected, and you get points. And that's it. And your points add up to money. Well, you don't get points. You get money. They say you have so many cents per whatever. Yeah. And there's gas stations, there's grocery stores, there's restaurants. So, like, I shop at Schnucks and the gas station right next to it, and they're both on there. So I get money for my gas and I get money for my groceries. And yes, it's a tiny amount, but it does add up. I think I've cashed out twice at $20 each. And every little
I've cashed out more than that. Well, and Brandon and I drive a lot more to you probably.
Yeah, you do.
So that's probably the difference. But
I don't drive for work and stuff, but
when I go to Schnucks,
upside.
There we go. When I go to Schnucks, it's for work-related things. Yeah. Life hack: if you have a company card and you are responsible for buying food and drinks sometimes for your team or whatever, hook all your reward programs up to them.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like anywhere you go, any
Even
grocery
for
store,
Chipotle.
any restaurant, check out the rewards programs. Every penny counts these days, y'all. If you get a free nacho at some restaurant, heck yes.
My lifetime earnings are
That's on me.
$101.91.
Oh, there you go.
And that is, I started in June of 2022. So like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Not too shabby for just hitting a button to say I'm here, you know?
And I still have $8 waiting
Doesn't
to
require
be cashed
any
out.
Yeah. Doesn't require any scanning or scrolling through stuff. You just say, this is where I'm at. And then you say, I paid. And
they
that's
don't
it.
have a minimum, right? Like you can just cash
know.
out. So one of the apps
remember.
that we're going to talk about doesn't, and I'm not sure which one it is at this point, but
It might have been upside.
yeah.
I never really pay attention to that stuff.
And if you do get them, I don't know if you've taken advantage of this, but sometimes they'll be like, definitely make sure you order from Domino's, and you go to Domino's where you probably also have a rewards or loyalty program, and you take advantage of that, and then you click it on Upside. I think every time I do Domino's or a grocery store or whatever, I always end up getting like $5, which is great.
Yeah. Makes things slightly more affordable.
On a side note, the Domino's emergency pizza promotion has been one of my favorites. They'll be like, if you order, you'll get an emergency pizza for next time. And then between my points and my emergency pizza, I get like 2 free pizzas, and it's great. Woohoo! And then I go to Upside, and I'm like, give me $5 for this.
That's right. That's right.
Let's see. Talked about I bought it. Oh yeah, I have a.
What's your next least painful?
Well, it's least annoying because receipt hog's not painful.
Yes, it is, and annoying.
Why is it painful?
It's scanning a picture, everything, and it takes like sometimes 5 pictures to get down
on
the whole
all
receipt.
Of these. You will have to scan the receipt.
I hate it.
The problem, in my opinion, with receipt hog is you don't accumulate the coins as quickly as you should. In my opinion, but some of them are like that.
Yeah, you know.
But yeah, they've gotten better too with online things. So I have my Target account hooked up to it. I have my Kroger account hooked up to it. Did not know that. I had been scanning things that they had already been giving me credit for automatically.
Oh,
there's a chance that I got double credit. I never went back and checked, but. Always scan the receipt too, just in case.
Never? No.
Right. You don't have to select offers. You just scan the receipt. You get spins from it, and you may get a lot of coins. You may get not a lot of coins or no coins. And then occasionally they'll have a survey that you can go through, and the surveys will earn you coins. It does not accumulate quickly, but I do like that you can basically pick PayPal, Amazon, or Visa. Never pick Visa. It's always the most annoying route to go. Always do PayPal or Amazon. The thing I don't like about Visa rewards is if you get the virtual card, merchants often look at you and go, I don't know how to use this. It's not something you can scan. They have the credit card info on there. They have to manually enter it, and then you have to keep track of what's on there. And when it gets down to like the last few dollars, you have to be like, I need you to run this for exactly $2.63 or it's going to decline it, and then I will pay for the rest. But if you get the physical card, Visa likes to charge you money for that, and I think that is stupid. Don't take away from my reward. That was already hard to get.
Right.
But I do like Receipt Hog. If they have a referral program, I'll put that in there. But it's very easy to hook up some of your online accounts, and then also, yes, you have to scan the receipt, but you don't have to like scroll through a bunch of things. You just get to like do it, and then it's like, okay, maybe we'll give you 5 coins, maybe we'll give you 500. Who knows?
Oh boy.
Not that I've ever gotten 500, but
I'm very much, as a single mom, about as much convenience as possible.
Yeah, that's fair.
So when it comes to having to scan things or like go through and like check what I'm going to buy before I get there and buy it, that's too much for me.
I was going to say earlier when we were talking about monetizing every waking moment of our lives that the reason it annoys me a lot is I'll come home from work and think, oh, maybe I'll spend an hour on a video game. And I'm like, no, actually, I think I'm going to spend like a few hours doing all these app things, working on the Amazon storefront we have now. Like, I feel like I have to sit down and like find another way to make money, even though work is over.
Yep. Talk about the credit cards I have. So, two of my favorite credit cards are through Chase. One is the Southwest Airlines card, and one is the Disney card.
I really like Chase as a company.
Yeah, they're great. The way that they operate is great. I've had to use customer service a few times for like stolen cards and things like that. It's always been a very pleasant and quick and easy experience. So love that. And their website and their app is amazing. You can do everything on it. Like I've rarely had to speak to a person, which I love.
Yeah.
So
Perfect for us.
Yes. But there are some benefits to different cards, you know, based on whatever you want to do. A lot of the financial people I follow have been recommending that if you don't know where to begin, get a card that does cash back for stuff. And that is extremely helpful if you're getting your gas and your groceries and your restaurant on the card, you know. But I specifically got these cards. I got the Southwest card because I love flying Southwest, basically because I'm a highly anxious person and I know the Southwest terminal at St. Louis like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
So I don't fear traveling by myself or with my small child alone.
Yeah. And they don't
it's a very small terminal. It's great.
They don't seem to hit the news very often for planes that are falling apart or anything like that.
And you can earn points towards free plane tickets, free travel, that kind of stuff. You also get rewards like based on what level of card you're at. So many early bird check-ins for free, so you can, you know, get in the line early and sit with your family on the plane, you know, that kind of thing. So lots of benefits there. But of course, they also offer travel reimbursement. So if you stay at a hotel, they might reimburse that rate with your points, that kind of stuff. And lots of other options, good discounts on different things. And of course, the Disney card, hello, duh. Of course, I have a Disney card. You get 10%.
Same.
Yeah, you get a 10% discount at the Disney stores. That includes when you are at Disney World and purchasing things. So if you tie a card to your Magic Band, bring your physical Disney Visa Rewards credit card with you because you can get the 10% in the theme park too.
And you get like special meet and greets and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, they have like a special area in each park where you can meet a character. I think at Hollywood Studios you get to meet Darth Vader or something like that, or Kylo Ren, somebody. And so it's, you know, smaller, shorter lines, that kind of thing. But very beneficial, and, you know, use those points to make your Disney trip cheaper.
Should we plug what we're doing in March?
Yeah, go for it. Do it.
I mean, we can keep it a secret.
Do it.
We're making a Mickey Mouse March. And you're going to get a lot of Disney tips from us in case you decide that that is where you would like to vacation. So different ways to save money, different things to make sure you take advantage of. So Mickey Mouse March is coming up.
And I tell you, it's going to be worth listening to. I watch almost every Disney vlogger on the planet. I watch them go to every resort. I watch them review every room. I watch them review all the new restaurants and all of the virtual queues and how to use Disney Genie Plus to your advantage. I know all of the stuff.
And she ran into one and got on their YouTube video.
Ari and I did.
My kids were like, they're famous. How is Aunt Nikki and Ari on YouTube?
We talked about it a lot going up, like, do you think we'll see a vlogger? And I was like, do you want to say hi if we do? And she's like, yeah. And then just somehow I spotted him. And I was like, Ari, I think that's Kyle. Like, he's got his camera out. It looks like him, but it's always hard to tell in person because it looks so different in person than on the camera.
That's how I feel like when you see like a football or baseball player with their helmet off. I'm like,
you're like, what?
Baby?
Is that you?
Yeah.
So we walked up, and sure enough, and he was so kind and so sweet. And he was like, do you want to be on the channel? And we were like, yes. And then, of course, Ari got super silent, so shy. But it was so nice. And after he recorded, he asked us about, I told him that Ari liked watching his videos because recently he went back to visit his family, and we watched him play with his childhood dog, Rocco.
Oh.
And he said, oh, do you have an animal? And she's like, yeah, I have a bunny, and his name is Bun Bun. And as we had finished the interaction and had gone back to our separate corners, you know, and he was waiting for people that were inside at a restaurant getting an order. And when they came out, he was recording them, like, skipping away, the people he was with. And he turned around and said, tell Bun Bun hi for me.
Aww.
And we're like, I can't believe you remembered
so
for 5 minutes some stranger's bunny's name, like, and thought to turn around and say goodbye to us. So it was so kind and so sweet.
What
and
a nice
just
guy.
The highlight of our trip, getting to
single?
go back and watch. No. He's got a lovely girlfriend now.
We're trying to
love.
find Nikki a nice Disney man.
I need a Disney daddy, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Someone who is not afraid to spend our vacation money going to Disney World. That's all I want.
Yeah.
I don't need someone to take care of me. I make my own money. You know, I just want someone who's going to be a partner, an equal partner in the workload
And
of the domestic
enthusiastic about
relationship,
the mouse.
and willing to spend money on Disney stuff. That's it.
Yeah, occasionally Chase releases, they don't let you do it all the time. They'll release like, hey, you can refer so many people. And the referral reward is really nice. So we'll put that
You get
down.
a lot of points.
Yeah, as long as it works, take advantage of it. I mean,
they do
used to cut
expire
it
every
off.
once in a while.
Yeah.
So if it's not working, you know, just hit up your friends and say, does anybody have a Disney Chase card? Can you send me a referral link?
Do you have the one where you have to pay the annual fee, or do you have just the other one?
I have the basic one. There's no annual fee or anything like that. They hit me up all the time to upgrade.
I refuse to pay annual fees on credit cards.
Yeah, I'm not at a point where I utilize them enough to get the benefits. Like, I can't travel that much, so I'm not going to pay $150 plus a year to get more travel benefits when I can't actually use them.
Yeah.
So,
and if you're paying the smaller card off over and over again, like, you're still accruing the points.
Yeah, it's enough for me.
Right.
It's the right level for me.
Yeah.
So, which is also a nice thing to say about them, is that the reward level is appropriate to your activity.
Honestly, I really like their reward level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've paid for, there were 2 trips I've taken where I used credit card reward points to pay for my accompanying adults plane ticket. I've taken my mom once before. I think maybe I've done her twice. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
Because when we went, we drove.
Yeah. I always drive because I'm the crazy Midwestern person that drives a long time.
I'm going to drive this time. I want to. I'm trying to talk Grandpa into
it can be fun, especially if you have the time.
Yeah.
It can be a lot of fun.
I have plenty of PTO, you know. It's just a matter of convincing the co-parent to let me have her that long, and then...
We always do a little layover in Georgia.
Hi, Uncle Fred.
One of these times I'd really like to hit up the Coca-Cola Museum. It would be fun to do a little bit of streaming of our own or recording from different places like that.
Yes, we would love to get our subscribers up to a point where we can go live and then do some fun stuff. Take you guys to the St. Louis Zoo.
Yes.
Take you traveling with us.
Oh my gosh.
You know?
And there's a local restaurant that, was it the Wagyu burger that I showed you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to see if they're still doing that because I want to go check that out.
We live in a place that's very close to several wineries. Yes. It would be great.
Yes.
We could do it, and it would be relatable.
Yep.
But also, we're going to go to Disney for my 40th birthday. We could live stream the Castle Morning Show and all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Hit us up, like, subscribe, follow, pass us along.
That's
share,
right.
All of the things.
That's right. Well, I'm going to talk about my least annoying receipt scanning app because they've all been receipt scanning apps. Fetch. So Fetch.
That's so Fetch.
I know.
Stop trying to make Fetch a thing, Gretchen. I'm done.
Have you seen the...
I have not.
Okay. Maybe
I'm
that's
afraid to ruin it.
Something we should do. So with Fetch, they do have offers in there, and you will get more points if you complete the offers. And a lot of them for me are very easy to complete because of how Kroger does what they do. They will very often have a deal where like you get the smaller box of General Mills cereal and they've got it on sale for $1.99. Most of their things come in 5s. So it's like buy 5 or more and you get this price. So I will be like, okay, we're going to go get 5 boxes of cereal because we're going to go through that in a week with my children. And then you scan the rewards app, and lo and behold, Fetch has a thing where you get 1,000 points if you buy 5 boxes of General Mills cereal.
Bump it up.
Yes. Or they'll have like spend so much on YoPlay or so much on Quaker and a bunch of things that we use already. So I do not do the homework of scrolling through their offers. I probably should, because one of my other friends who uses Fetch was like, oh, and they had this thing with Fresh Time the other day, and if you went and you spent money, you got $25 off, and it ended up being a really good deal. And I was like, I had no idea that was even in there, and I totally missed out on it. So feel free to scroll through their offers. But even if you don't have an offer, by scanning the receipt itself, you're going to get some points. And I feel like Fetch is one of the ones where you accrue points more quickly. I have cashed out on them a lot. And it used to be that when you scanned a receipt, you also got to spin like a Price is Right kind of wheel.
Okay.
And it would give you extra points based on that. And now they've removed that, but they have a thing where if you download and play games for however long you are on those games, you get extra points.
Okay.
And then they'll do like certain special events. Like there's one going on right now. If you download a new game and you hit a milestone before the end of the month, you're going to get 1,000 points.
Sweet.
So, yeah. So what I will do, because I monetize every second of my life, and I've done other things. If you guys are familiar with Missed Play,
people wonder why we're high strung.
I know. If you're familiar with like those other apps where like they're like, put us on in the background and then play these download and play these games and we'll give you points. Those do not accumulate very quickly. Fetch does. When you get into higher levels of the game, it starts to slow down, but then you just get rid of those games and download a new game. But I will basically, anytime that I'm watching TV, pop a game on and play it. And before I know it, it's like 200 points, 400 points, 150 points. So it's very easy to accumulate the points you need in Fetch. And I know that their referral bonus is very good. It's very often they will run a promotion where you get 1,000 points. There might be one right now where you get 2,000 points. So
go check it out.
Yeah. And I think it's generally the points line up with the dollar amount. Although there are, like sometimes you'll be going for a $25 gift card, but you actually have to have anywhere from 27 to 28,000 points for that because they're like upcharging you for that particular gift card. But they have a lot of different options there too. Fetch is one of my favorites.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is not a rewards app. It's part of Financial February.
Mm-hmm. It's a smart investment.
It is. One of the goals that we'll talk about in our next episode on like the basics of where to start in finances is opening a high yield savings account in which to grow your emergency savings and any savings for anything you want, like a car, a down payment for a house, anything where you need to have access to the money at any given time, but you want it to grow high interest. I am using SoFi, that's SOFI. And it's because Tori Dunlap, the financial feminist, and a couple other people I follow also.
I've heard a lot about
it.
SoFi.
Called a Leap talks about it too, which is another guy I follow on TikTok. He was a public school teacher who realized that he didn't know enough about financing and like taught himself. And now he's like, you know, wealthy and
That's
able
crazy.
to, he's like, I was able to do this as a public school teacher on the side, learn these things, gather these tools and build wealth in my family. Mm-hmm. So now he's like sharing the information basically. So he recommends it to any of these people or myself will be sharing a referral link because you can get at various times offers are different, but sometimes they'll give you $300 if you open up an account a certain way and do direct deposits a certain way. And that's the great part about SoFi is the high yield savings account earns I think it's up to 4.65% interest, which is huge. If you have a regular checking or savings account, you're maybe getting like 0.01, 0.03 interest. Insurance.
I think like every quarter I see like 9 cents go back into our bank.
Yeah, exactly. So like here, you set it up and you put the initial money in, and then each time you take a step, they recommend you get more percentage. Mm-hmm. So if you set up direct deposit, if you deposit your initial so much, like you get more and more percentage. I'm up to 4.6. And it is earning, I don't have thousands and thousands of dollars of savings, and I'm getting what feels like a good amount. Each month they tell you this is how much interest you earn. And it's like, first month is $10 and then $20 and now $30. And I'm like, oh, this could really grow.
Compounding interest is great.
Yes. And it's a big argument. And all the people I've been listening to is even if you feel like you don't have $5, if you put $1 into one of these things, the compound interest over the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years is huge. Anywhere you are, just start. Even if you don't know what to do, open a high yield savings account, open a Roth IRA, and just start.
Yeah.
And go from there,
Yep.
So that's what I did. I just opened it and started. I transferred some money from a less percentage savings account into it. And have I made big decisions on what to invest in? No. But I've opened it and I've automated depositing into it. And, those are the first steps.
Yeah.
So there will be a referral link for you if you want information. different programs at different times, so I don't know what they'll be running at the time, but
Sure.
check it out. And if the referral link doesn't work or has expired or whatever, go find Tori Dunlap, Call to Leap, Vivian, your rich BFF, all those people. They have referral links all of the time. So
Your rich BFF.
that is her tagline. Vivian, your rich BFF. She's your favorite Wall Street girly. I love her.
I'm going to start listening to these.
It's amazing. Her book is on has been ordered. I think it's called How to Be Rich AF or something like that. Yeah.
I like her
It's
already.
great. It's great.
Oh my gosh.
It's being delivered soon, so hopefully I'll be able to take a peek at it before financial February ends. But if not, I'll just do a follow-up episode or something.
There you go. We're definitely coming up on time for this one. I do want to reference 2 quick apps that I do not believe have. One's an app, one's a card. That do not have referral programs, but I think are worth using. The one where we use to monetize our steps is Cashwalk, CashWalk. You do, to get the most out of it, have to put their lock screen on your phone, so you're going to lose like your cute little wallpaper. I mean, like it's behind it, but like when you first open your phone, you're going to see whatever their thing is. You have to put their lock screen on, and every time you take 100 steps, you get a coin. Okay. And so and it caps at like 10 or 20,000 or something. So like you can basically only get like 100 or 200 coins a day from that. But then if you take at least 2,000 steps and then go into the app itself, you'll be able to open 3 boxes and you watch a little ad and you can get a random number of coins. So I never feel like I get more than 13 coins from that, but I have gotten like $15 to $20 worth of free Subway, and my children are obsessed with Subway, so it has worked out very well for me.
I did cash out once for a $5 Amazon card.
Yes, and they are very limited on what their cards are, but they do have a few that are common enough that you're still going to find something that you're going to use or want.
Yeah. Who doesn't order from Amazon? Come on.
Exactly. So, and that's great segue into my next thing, the Amazon credit card. So if you are the kind of person that can have a card open and pay it off as you go, I highly recommend this one. I would wait until they offer you a large gift card. So I waited until they were like, here, we'll give you a $150 gift card to open an Amazon card. Yes.
What?
I got for free $150 worth of stuff.
For those who are just listening, you should be watching us on YouTube, because my face at that moment.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, I guess I'll open this card because I don't have to use it. And then you don't have to use it. You could just take the free stuff. But the points you get back are not that bad. I put Silas's birthday present on that, and I think it's already like, here's $11 free dollars. Woohoo! Yeah. So, and it was like a $200 present, to be fair.
That's a kid's Christmas present, $11.
Yeah. So, not that I spent $200 on it myself. We did have family go in on it just for some
That's another amazing idea for saving money.
Yeah.
Got a big ticket item, hit up all the family members and say, donate some money and we'll put your name on the tag.
I have also heard of this thing called $5 parties. Instead of gifts, you ask every kid to bring $5 and then the birthday child gets to buy whatever they want to buy.
Ooh, that's cool.
Not a terrible idea. Great way to include families where they might feel pressured to give more than they can. And it's like, nope, flat $5, you're good, Or if they have multiple children, you can say $5 per family. Like, just make it easy on everybody.
Yeah.
But the Amazon card, I feel like the points accrue fairly quickly. You do have to make sure that you're not going to put a bunch of stuff on there that you do not intend on paying off on the regular, or you're going to get yourself in that debt pile. But
don't dig in.
I order my diapers and my wipes and contact solution and a lot of everyday things through Amazon.
Yeah.
Why not get reward points back on it?
Yeah.
So,
good point.
As always, check us out on workingmomswine.com, patreon.com/workingmomswine. On TikTok and Instagram, you can hit up Working Moms Wine. We have an Amazon storefront now. I will link that below as well. Yeah, I know. The links are growing.
We are monetizing everything.
Yeah. So definitely check us out on all of those platforms. Please, 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 please subscribe. If you want to support us through Patreon, cool, fun, awesome. But what we really need right now is subscribers on everything. That is our main goal this year, is to hit a certain subscriber level just to help us kind of grow everything. So
yeah,
and
we want to grow. We want to pay for trying new wines and traveling to wineries and things like that. So and if we review in our entertainment,
exactly, if we review a winery and you decide that you want a vacation in Missouri, now you've got some tips.
Hit us up. We'll meet you for dinner.
That's right.
Join us for week 2 of Financial February, where we will whine about retirement. I'll also share some knowledge I've gained about investing for your retirement and, building wealth, that sort of thing. So if you don't know what to do and you're basically starting from scratch, week 2 is going to be the episode you want to pay attention to. I'm going to talk about retirement investing, but I'm also going to give all of these financial people I've followed have given the same 3 to 4 basic first steps that you take, and I'm going to go over those.
And we'll link to some of them too, so you
Yes.
guys know where to find them.
Yeah, I've got all their little TikTok names and everything, so you can find them, follow them. The more that you follow people and watch this stuff and make it part of your everyday brain power, the more it's going to follow you into the steps you actually take. So surround yourself with what you want to be,
Start building those little habits.
That's right. Manifestation, baby.
That's right. Awesome. Well, we will see you next week. Bye.